Hello, freaks, and welcome to Radical Research. This is episode 129. I guess first off, we should probably thank you for being very patient with the delay between episodes. I suppose a lot of you know what's going on with me lately. It still goes on 6 months after the fact, but I appreciate everybody just kind of being patient while I get our lives back together here in North Carolina. I, of course, have with me, as always, half man, half biscuit, the one, the only, Hunter Ginn.
Maybe like I don't know, man, a tenth radish.
10th radish?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit of radish in me. So
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
here, and I am honored to join you, one of my dearest friends and my hero, on this exciting episode.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you much for that. So let's see, 40% man, 40% biscuit, 19% radish, and boy, 1% gravy. I think you're going to need more gravy than that.
Probably, but let's we'll shore up those percentages later.
Okay. Well, we'll get our people on it. Before we dive in, you can support us by making a small monthly donation through Patreon. Simply go to patreon.com/radical research podcast. And we'll also have a link to that in the show notes. I want to thank Charlie H. for adding to the growing clutch of people who have contributed via Patreon. So thank you, Charlie. You can always send donations directly to our PayPal address, which seems very old school compared to the Patreon way, but you can do that. It's also our contact address for all comments and questions. So that email and that PayPal ID is radicalresearchpodcast@gmail.com. Now, our website, radicalresearch.org, is looking a little spare lately because Deserts of Hex 2 has sold out, so that's no longer available. But thank you for everybody who supported that venture headed by Hunter and our friend Thomas Null. My Fates Warning book sold out last week officially, so I'll probably be reprinting those later this summer in time for the release of the Voivod book, just so I have most of my books out there. But the only one you can buy right now, the only thing we have to offer on the site is the Peter Steele biography, Soul on Fire. So you can find that at radicalresearch.org. Yeah, sit tight. We'll have more, and I think you're working on a Deserts 3, but we wouldn't want to promise that too early, would we?
I am. We are, I should say. No. I suspect early next year.
It's like Heinz ketchup, anticipation, just
It's
making you wait.
it's a lot of work, deserts.
Yeah, yeah.
That like writing for me takes much longer and seems like a lot more work than making music for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but it feels like it.
Well, different disciplines. It's it certainly I can understand that. Well, no matter what, we look forward to it. The elephant in the room, or I should say the emperor in the room, is that since we last recorded, you were out in the West Coast. You played 3 shows with Agalok, if I'm not mistaken, Northwest Terror Fest, and then 2 shows with Emperor in California. Do you want to say just a few words about that before we jump into our subject at hand?
Yeah, I mean, unreal. Um, Very humbling to share. I don't even want to say share, but to be given the opportunity to be on the same stage as Emperor. Got to spend a little bit of time with Samoth and Isan. They were both very, very gracious people. Isan came by after our set in San Francisco and told us that it was fantastic. And that was about all I needed to hear for the rest of my life.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
then I made friendly with Jürgen Munkeby, their keyboardist now, who is a longtime hero of mine from the Norwegian Shining.
Yes.
And we were walking up with all of our gear at we'd already played LA since San Francisco. And I looked him in the eye because my disposition is so different than any Norwegian I've ever met. Norwegians are typically sort of reserved. I think it's just a cultural thing, and being a Southerner, get from America, I tend to make eye contact with everyone and wave and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And I just took a chance and I said, "Hey, I listened to In the Kingdom of Kitsch on the flight here." He goes, "Why the fuck would you do that?" And I said, "I've been doing it for 20 years and I'm
Right.
not going to stop that." And he said, "What's your name?" And that was that.
That's
That
amazing.
was
Dude, that's amazing.
that was really that was probably for me the peak moment of yeah, the whole weekend. But shows were amazing. I mean, two legendary venues. God, like being having Chris and Gail come to the LA show, and
Oh, that's right.
to be able to sit up there and watch, like in between those two guys, and watch Emperor with them. I mean, fucking bonkers.
For those who don't know, Chris Rushing and Gail Perlow from Gorging Shade and Canvas Solaris.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Dude, I almost forgot that they were there. Um,
Yeah, that meant everything to me.
wish I could have joined you all, but
You were there. You were there.
things are quite different here. Well, man, yeah, glad I was there in spirit. Definitely thinking about you all weekend, and actually all week because you did Northwest Terror Fest the weekend prior, so got to hang out with your buds in Agalock.
Yeah, I got to hang out with Ace Eisenhart, got to hang out with Paul Stolp,
nice.
um, another, very important part of Deserts.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, hung out with Nate Carson in LA. It was great to see him.
didn't Aesop Decker show up?
Dude, I fucking love Aesop.
Nice.
He just came in, he came to the show in San Francisco. He came in and hugged me.
Well, good. I
That's,
mean, you're
that's
his
how it
successor. Why
started,
not?
though. Like, but Aesop, like, is a hero of mine. Like, I love his playing. And his blog, Cosmic Hearse, was a huge thing for me. I wish it was still going, but I mean, he's playing in Ludicra and Vol and Agalok. I mean, yeah, like, and we had the best time together. I can't wait to see him again.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm glad he
Just a
showed up. That's
super
cool.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a lot in common, and it was just a real joy to meet him.
Well, one thing you have in common is you're one of very few people who've been drummer in Agalock in this world. So not many of us have done that.
I guess that's true.
Well, let's move on. We got a show to do. We've been champing at the bit, as we say. We've been fucking champing at the bit, and this one I kind of put it off to the side or in a different margin than some of the most of what we do because kind of like the Bathory Octagon episode, where that was like the first episode in all of the episodes we've done, where we kind of slagged an album. We don't tend to do that. We tend to hold things up, put them on pedestals, do things we love. And this one is on a UK-born, English-born man named Mat McNerney, also known as Kvohst, and several other aliases. And while we are familiar with some of his works, we aren't, I would say, experts on a lot of it. At least I wasn't going in. I don't know why. I just had this thought that we should look at this guy because he has contributed a lot over the years. And it's been quite a span of things as well. Not only was he, of course, in our beloved Dodheimsgard for an album and a very important part of the Supervillain Outcast album by them, but also on this incredible album called Beastmilk Climax was the name of the album, Beastmilk, the band. Hunter, hold back your comments. We will get there. I know you have a lot to say about that one, but just
I am in physical pain right now.
we'll get there. We'll get there. So he's also collaborated with Norwegians and Finns and other people from other countries, France, I think. He's just contributed a lot to the world of, I guess, what we like to call weird metal, weird music, music. Matt was about 16 years old when a demo by a band named Vomitorium came out in 1994. They changed their name to the Tragedians and released another demo called Krull in 1996. Now, this was the start for Matt, and we'll listen to two tracks from these demos now. This is maybe where it starts, but certainly not where it ends up. These are snippets from Vomitorium's Rhapsody and Blasphemy song and a song by the Tragedians called Stoneblind.
Desensitize from all this horror. Tear up my sight from this upright figure. This darkness is but a different type of fear. Love rings clear through the smalls of man. When love rings clear through the smalls of man. When love rings clear through the smalls of man. Tear up my sight from this upright figure.
I don't think it would be any mystery to anyone on that's listened to the show for any length of time to know that this is the kind of confusing mesh that is right up my alley. The things that make like early Cradle of Filth so vexing are in here, and I love it. Doom, death metal, early black metal, sprinkling of post-punk and other things, but somehow it just works for me.
Yeah, I mean it's
And
you
it's youthful, and it's it's not the most graceful handling of all those different components, but I still find I still find that it works.
me too, and that's okay because they're demos and they're young. He's
Right.
16, he's 16 on that first thing, and 18 on the Tragedians thing, and the ambition is there. You can understand why he would have been attracted to collaborating with Norwegians, because there's definitely a bit of that impulse there. I hear it reminded me of that second and the very early Beyond Dawn stuff, that second demo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Little bit in that realm because Beyond Dawn was, this just for that moment where just weird and wild black metal. Yeah, good stuff. And it's interesting because Matt would play in a couple of other bands, mostly just on the demo level. Yeah. In the late 90s, Reclamation and Scythe, Scythe, on the demo level in 1997 and 98, respectively. That's Reclamation and Scythe. There will be a test later. So he was really prolific and I think ambitious early on. And this shouldn't surprise us that he's done what he's done and his discography is so vast. In case you don't know who Matt is or you're not familiar with a lot of his work, he's mostly a vocalist. So everything you're hearing here, he's the vocalist. He has played guitar here and there. Do you remember when McNerney came to your attention first, Hunter?
Yeah, Supervillain.
Supervillain Outcast, yeah, by Dodheimsgard.
I remember you got a promo of it. It was right after, if that was when we did the Unchariot thing. Yeah, I think it was. That was a lot. You came to see me in Winston. It was a very long weekend, and we had just Canvas had just finished Atomized Dream, and we
That's right.
was listening to that, and but you had a promo of Supervillain, and obviously, look, Dodheimsgard is a band that takes its time between albums.
Yeah.
And so, it'd been 8 years at that point, from
666 International.
six, yeah. And I remember us playing it, and the vocals arrested me
Mm-hmm.
already. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it was clearly a new element, and so yeah, no, I took note right then of Matt's vocals.
Yeah, and and this is part of the fun of this episode is we're learning about him a little
Yeah.
more. We're
It's a really odd thing because normally, yeah, like we do episodes, and I'm really grateful that we're doing this because normally we do episodes on things that we know very deeply already.
right.
And it's been an exercise in, a musician, a talent that we admire deeply, and then figuring out all the other things that they've done.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
yeah, really happy that we're doing this.
yeah, doing the research on it and playing some of the things we're going to play. I added a few things to my to buy list for sure. You before we do, you kind of threw out this Unchariot thing as if we have revealed that before, but I don't think we've ever let anybody know that we are Unchariot, this short-lived
You
hoax
haven't?
band. Hoax band. I don't think so, but we might as well.
I thought that it
Uh,
had been revealed.
we revealed it to Jason Walton, and he didn't seem all that impressed.
Ethan
But
Walden is impressed by almost nothing, by the way. So
we might have caught him in a bad moment. But the Unchariot story, maybe that's one we should save for a point five and actually play some of the music. I
you
feel
know what?
like
All right, guys. Stay tuned for Unchariot.
yes. Oh my God, you just threw that out. The well-kept secret of our
Well,
hoax
and we
band.
were drunk on barley wine, and I think we'd been smoking weed, and yeah, we lyrics taken from a Fall Out Boy interview and spin. So if that doesn't whet your appetite, legions, I don't know what will.
Oh, I know it will, is the fact that one reviewer, we got slagged in Metal Maniacs, but one reviewer, and nobody knew who we were, one reviewer said it was better than what Steve O'Malley's been putting out lately. And I'm like, what the living fuck? And then what was the other thing? Oh, and we were on Metal Archives. I had submitted it to Metal Archives. We were on for about 2 days before they realized maybe this wasn't legit.
Which is crazy. Because I'm sure that tons of shit on Metal Archives is not legit. I think their workload has overwhelmed them.
Probably. Okay, so let's move on to McNerney.
We apologize.
Yeah, Matt, sorry. He surfaced officially, as far as I can tell, with the band Void. Now, here's another discovery that, I knew about Void. I knew about their debut Posthuman, which is the only one that Matt's on.
Yep.
I remember when that came out. I think it came out in Candlelight, if I'm not mistaken. But they're another band that releases albums sporadically. They've had 4 total. It was only with a couple years ago's Jadjow or Yadyow that I got interested, thanks to our friend Tim Hammond, who highly recommended it. And I heard something and I was like, oh my God. And I bought it. I think it's fantastic. Their second album, the self-titled, is also absolutely excellent. They have a third album called, I think, The Hollow Man or something, released on Einar Surso's label, Duplicate, if I'm not mistaken. And this is all from memory, but that is an absolute mess, and I've tried it twice. I don't know what's wrong with it, other than it just sounds overstuffed. I'm like, oh, I can't get through it. But I love the self-titled. I love Jadjow or Yadyow, but I'd never heard Posthuman because I'd always heard it was always called industrial metal, which I tend to sort of be a little careful with. And this is where
it can go any number of ways.
What I've heard, I like quite a bit. We're going to listen to a little bit from Pathogen, Bombshell, and this is the only Void album featuring McNerney.
And I should say
vocals.
That maybe I should. You know what? I'll go ahead and say it. Tim, funny that you should mention that. Huge Mac McNerney fan, and is the guy that got me into Beastmilk. So, cheers, Tim.
Tim Hammond. All right, making it happen once again.
Starting kindergarten with me.
Coming through strong.
Yeah.
Still in 2025. All right. This is Pathogen Bombshell by Void from their first album, Posthuman, which came out in 2003. See, even though Void is an English band, I hear Norway. Yeah, I hear it as something inspired or in parallel with the Norwegian stuff that we like. And
I hear Cadaver. I hear Dodheimsgard.
Yeah, I mean, you can see why Vocatnik might have been interested in him just from hearing that, because it's not. Yes, there's a parallel with what Dodheimsgard were doing with 666 and Supervillain. So interesting there. And here's the link. basically the next thing that Matt would do. He started to really kind of overlap on some projects here at this point. He joined a band called Code, or I should say co-founded. Probably the first thing that really gave him true notoriety. It saw him collaborating with folks from various countries, including Norweird legends, Vicotnik, who we just mentioned, of course, from Dodheimsgard, and also Vedwinzenda. And drummer Eric Lancelot was in Code, who we all know best from his work on the first 4 Ulver albums. Man, some serious Norweird Hall of Famers right there. He would stay with Code for their first demo and the first 2 albums, and he jumped off in 2011 to pursue yet more projects. Seems kind of like a restless creative soul at this point anyway, right?
Yeah, no, I think he just has an overactive imagination, and I need to express himself. And he's got so much talent and so much creative energy. You just can't stay in one place for very long.
Yeah. It feels like, and we'll get there, of course, where we end up in this episode is where he's at right now. And it feels like he's committing himself to just about 2 major things right now that people seem to like quite a bit, and that I think he's probably getting a lot of his creative yah-yahs out, for lack of a way better term. But we're going to listen to 2 Code songs. Now, you and I have some explaining to do, Lucy. We really should be way on top of Code, but I don't think either one of us were. I think we are now. This is a band that's now on my to get list. I did review one of
same. Yeah. I feel ashamed. I don't want to explain myself because I do that almost daily at work, and that's very tiring.
Right.
For all the things that I miss and do wrong. So let's just say that we missed the boat on this, but we can right that wrong.
I certainly knew about it. I think I reviewed their 3rd album or 4th, without McNerney, for Decibel at one point when I was doing Decibel reviews in, like, I guess early teens, mid-teens. So, I knew about them, and I remember being kind of lukewarm on that album. I thought it was good, didn't think it was great, but I took a real good listen to some of the stuff from these first 2 albums with McNerney, and I'm like, oh my Lord, why have you and I overlooked this? It just seems so in our wheelhouse. And so I think Radical Research listeners and those who are aligned with you and I, Hunter, will understand why. This is a cloud-formed teardrop Asylum from 2005's Nouveau Gloaming, and I Hold Your Light from 2009's Resplendent Grotesque.
You just have to say the song titles and the album titles.
Man, I love a cloud-formed teardrop Asylum. Yeah, song title of the episode for sure.
lawns and suburbs. You, the great destroyer of my childhood. Like a ship that was lost in a storm, I will lie in the grave and stretch out my arms. I will lay this body down. I will lay this body down. When the evening of judgment has come, when all the stars in the sky come undone, I will lay this body down. I will lay this body down. I hold your light that burst the banks of the rivers of my limbs, brain set on fire in a flavor of the celluloid. You're my odyssey, my glory, my last chance at reality. Like a ship that was lost in a storm, I will lie in the grave and stretch out my arms. I will lay this body down. I will lay this body down.
No, I think now we hear the mature, fully realized McNerney.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Absolutely. Yeah, this is where he found his voice. No real pun intended, but this is why he's so great. This is why we enjoy so much of what he does, is his dexterity and versatility as a vocalist.
Yeah, incredible. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think he really comes into his own here.
Absolutely. And this is when, I believe this is when did he start using the name Kvohst? Kvohst. I'm not sure. I think it was either this one or the next project we're going to talk about. But yeah, and obviously musically, Code is something pretty much right up our alley. Yeah, I'm definitely buying these two albums. As we're moving soon. My wife and I and our animals are moving to a new house in about a week. So kind of between addresses, and otherwise I would have ordered them by now. You got to have your priorities, but
Well, I'm going to do the same.
yeah, the first two Code are priority for me right now. I got to know more. Checking out those snippets, listening to a few other things while putting this together. It's like, boy, I know some things, things slip by all of us, right? Like we're so fiendish with music, and we're gobbling up so much stuff and going back to so many favorites. And every now and then in the midst of all that, something passes you by. And certainly Code is a big one for us.
That's the fun of it too.
It is the fun of it. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think we were ready for Code back then. We just weren't ready.
Ready, bro.
So he gets, like I said, he gets kind of restless around this time. So, there were, 4 years between those Code albums that he was on. And in 2008, he joined a band that only put out one EP. The band's called Decrepit Spectre. The EP is called Coal Black Hearses. The song we're going to play is called Stranded Angels. Okay, so they're Decrepit Spectre. Kvohst is joined by members of Code and Void, which he'd already been in, and a band that he was never in called Seth, French black metal band. So all these guys conspired to do just this one EP. I find that also very interesting. I want to know more. I love the ending of that snippet. I love where we get down into this kind of dungeony, sort of sound effectsy sort of world. And I love how he comes out of it with his voice. Raised some hairs on my arms as we were listening.
That's another purchase for me if I can find a way to make that happen.
Right, man? I mean, it's kind of wild. You got to look at the Code albums, the Void album he was on, and this, and then also Dodheimsgard, which came out a year before the Decrepit Spectre EP that we just sampled. And he's really, at this point, really interested in a certain type of thing. Because not all these bands have their own sound, but there's also a lot of parallels, right? I mean, they're kind of in the same world. And I like how specific he got for a little while with, I guess, what we'll just call avant-garde post-black metal, because this is basically where this sits.
Yeah, I mean, that is, but so much more, like that's sort of the point of departure, is the really imaginative post-black metal. And then, but he's already really, really found his voice. And I think it's where he goes from there where it gets the most interesting.
We can't help but sample some Dodheimsgard stuff from Supervillain Outcast. Of course, we did a show on them. Boy, I don't remember the number or when it was. It was a few years ago. Of course, we did a show on Dodheimsgard. That's, something we be ridiculous if we had not done that after 129 episodes. And of course, we featured a couple songs from Supervillain, but we're going to play a couple now that we didn't listen to on that episode, just to give you a sense of Matt's work with that unbelievable band called Dodheimsgard that we love so much. This is Apocalypticism and Chrome Balaclava.
always gets me. It's incantatory.
Ah, it's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's magical. Yeah, whether you believe in magic or not, yeah, it just haunts me every time I listen to it.
I believe in magic in terms of what music can do for us.
Mhm.
It feels magical, I suppose, by the definition of what magic is. Yeah. I mean, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, I definitely have a very spiritual dimension to my being. Not necessarily religious, but yeah, very attuned to things that we can't quite explain. And this
Sure.
taps right into that.
Totally taps into that. Yeah, yeah. And those come in sequence on that album, the way we played them, essentially. Man, what a great album. I remember my first, with you, my first meeting with that album, I think was with you. And, the next couple listens to it, it felt like a very, very intense album. And it still is.
666 was, their foray into like some of the industrial elements and things. But yeah, in terms of the velocities and tempos, they really dug into those on Supervillain.
Oh yeah, totally. But the thing I was thinking about it though, or at least the way it's kind of transformed for me over the years, that album is that I appreciate more and I hear more depth in that album now because they'll do things like Chrome Balaclava that we just heard, where it's not all intense from beginning to end. They'll throw some of these segues into it, and I think a lot of the depth can be credited to, yes, Vakotnik, of course, for organizing the whole thing, but Mat Kvohst for bringing in these cleaner voices that are so haunting and so spectral. And I feel like that album has gained a lot of depth for me with each listen over the years. So yeah, it's well, I was going to say magical. You already said
Wow.
it is that kind of album, and that it's that kind of band because they haven't done anything bad. And I think most of us all agree that Black Medium Current, their latest one, is maybe even their best. Like, how are they doing this? But they are. Amazing band. Mat was in a band called Gangrenator for a very brief time. Some more Norwegian musicians, guys from Aptorian Demon, and most of the other bands that I'm not really that familiar with, and I don't think you are either, but nevertheless, Norwegians. And their one and only album from 2010 is called Tales from a Thousand Graves. And this is, I think, most, if not all, of Cyclops' Tribes of Inner Earth. I think we'll hear a little shift here, just Mat kind of having a little bit of fun.
As with you, I was unfamiliar with Gangrenator, or is that how you say it?
Like a Gangrenator, sure.
Oh,
Sure.
and Granitor?
Gangranator. Gangranator.
Anyway,
Gangrenator.
not hell, goddamn Granganator. Get that thing out my yard.
Backwards, it's Rottenergnag. So maybe that's it. I don't know.
Anyway,
But yeah. Anyway,
I was unfamiliar. I have to say, I have a special place in my heart for shit like this. I'm probably the only person that's involved in radical research or listens to radical research that spent $30 on an Arse Destroyer import back in 1996.
All right, you've heard it here, folks. If you can rise up to the Arse Destroyer challenge, if you've paid that much money for an Arse Destroyer, what'd you say, 7 inch?
No, it's a CD.
CD, sorry, CD. Get a hold of us. We want to know if Hunter's the only one on the planet.
I regret that.
You regret it,
Yes, I
Arse
do.
Destroyer. Well,
But
you know,
this rages in a way that I really appreciate.
it's pretty damn good. It's funny because like you wouldn't think the concept of it would. There's not much you can do with this style anymore, right? Even in
Shit, it's
2000.
like this is convincing.
Yeah, I know. Even in 2010, it would seem sort of passe, and then you hear
Yeah,
it, you're like, oh shit. Apparently, he aligns himself with high quality stuff. Because even in this world of the kind of almost razorback sort of death metal grind that Gangranator's doing, it works. It's convincing. I'd like to hear the whole album.
the only other person that just like beside Nathan Sapp that just casually drops Razorback into a conversation. But yes, you're right.
Sorry, man. It's my plight. Yeah. So here we go. We so that
Apparently, my plight is being friends with people like you and Nathan.
like yeah, dude. We apologize. I apologize on Nathan's behalf as well. So yeah, there's that. And so that was 2010, and it took a while, but the Beastmilk album comes out 3 years later. I feel like this is kind of his second strong phase in terms of style and where he's going and what he would involve himself in. And it's different than the Code, Void, Decrepit Spectre, Dodheimsgard thing, right? I'm going to turn this over to you because I think it was you who turned me on to Beastmilk. And at the time, I remember maybe knowing it was Kvohst in the band, but it didn't have the impact on me in terms of information that it would have now. I just thought, oh, cool, all right. Then I listened to it. I got really into it. Like I'm a big fan of that album, Climax. They were a one and done. They changed their name. We'll get into that,
Well,
of course.
they have the EP too.
They have the
Um,
EP. That's right. That's right. I don't own that. I never did.
it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. You picked these two from Climax. Tell me about Climax, where it came in on your life, where how you discovered this band, and just sort of because this is a big one for Matt, and this is a big one for us as
I'm gonna
fans.
share more. I'm gonna share more with you and with anyone that wants to know. But I think that Matt's gonna listen to this because I've been in touch with him lately, and I want him to know, and I want everyone to know how important this album is to me. And it wasn't just important when I found out about it and when I first heard it. It remained important to me over a very lonely and dark time in my life and sustained me through it. I am very there aren't a lot of albums in my collection now I can say like got me through something that like this period it was pretty much Chelsea Wolf and Beast Milk. I had to I'd gotten divorced and Katie and I had a child and based on Georgia law I had to go to a mediation thing and I went to that during the day and Tim was down here that day waiting on me to get done with it and we went and had lunch and he played me this album and it just knocked me out.
And you must have been,
I,
of course, in a pretty unusual mood, right? Not even
yeah, I
who,
was in a very unusual and bad mood. I was
yeah.
living in, I moved out from our house. I was in this unfurnished, like 650 square foot apartment, and Tim played me this thing, and it blew me away.
See,
And it
that's
was
amazing.
every
Yes.
everything. I had a complete hole in my heart and soul. And I remember hearing Matt's voice on that first track, and I was like, this is the nourishment that I need.
You know what's interesting about that is sometimes we don't even know if and when we're going to be receptive to something that actually becomes huge in our DNA, right?
Yep.
You didn't know. I mean, you may not have been in the mood to get turned on to something. You know, who knows? You might have been like, "Oh, Tim's trying to turn me on to some shit I don't like," you know, whatever. I mean,
Like
we
when I say I do believe in magic, like why would Tim play me that one thing at that time? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
I still open myself up to, the possibilities of something extraordinary. And that happened. And I kept listening to it over the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, just like constantly. And the lyrics really resonated with me. And not, the lyrics are very nihilistic and kind of almost destructive, but they felt, I don't know, kind of constructive to me at the time.
Yeah, I
If
love that.
that makes any kind of sense.
It does. I mean, there, you know, we can talk about catharsis.
It's like all those demons and all the bad feelings that I wanted to exercise, I was able to get those out from this album.
Amazing. Well, thanks for sharing, and thanks for sharing not only with me but with us. I know what that album does mean to you, but I'm not sure I ever heard kind of the entry point for you with it. So that's yeah. Thanks for being so open.
And I had some really marginal nights with this album, and but it got me through, and I'm really, really grateful.
Yeah, let's check out snippets from Fear Your Mind and Surf the Apocalypse.
1989, her name is Brenda. Gonna make the children understand. Charlie Manson, blue and red. Gonna shoot the president dead. Give in to the voices in your head. I will be your code. I will be your trigger. I will be your death lover. I could be your force. I commit your murder. Let me be your mind fucker. November 707. Take a hit out of it. Forget your fantasies of heaven. Colorado movie high. Dark night, you decide. This curtain pulls. This curtain
even though Beastmilk is not quite like this band I'm going to mention in a sec, I feel like there are parallels, and I feel like every member must absolutely worship November Coming Fire by Samhain.
Dude, what did I say? Here, can we got to edit something real quick.
Okay.
Matt just messaged me.
Well, I don't know if we want to edit that. That's kind of cool that Matt just messaged you.
All right, don't edit it.
So Matt McNerney just messaged you, and you haven't really been in touch with him before. You just contacted him and a few days ago, I think you said, and told him we were going to do this.
And I am frankly freaking the fuck out that
That's
Matt McNerney just messaged me.
after that story you told, and as we're listening to Surf the Apocalypse, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Can you ask him if he loves November Coming Fire?
What did I say? I remember saying this to you. All right, so, and we may have mentioned this whole thing back at some point on this episode. So I was going through a divorce. Your mom died, and we spent Christmas together in 2013.
2013.
Yep.
Yep.
And we were hanging out down at the studio, and again we were listening to Chelsea Wolfe, and we were listening to Beastmilk. I said this album is like Samhain with hooks.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
It was. It feels like if November Coming Fire was a tightly produced hooky record. Yeah, the darkness of it, the fucking supernatural power of it is all there. It's just reined in.
Yeah, and his vocal delivery, let's forget about Glenn Danzig as like some sort of meme subject or some kind of cartoonish character, because I feel like that's unfortunately what he's become, and that's not. He's an amazing vocalist, and he was so expressive and so much character on everything he did, especially I think that Samhain stuff, and even into what was supposed to be Samhain. I'm never sure how to say Samhain now. I'll just say Samhain. Samhain Grim.
It is Samhain.
Samhain Grim. Samhain.
But I.
Yeah, but anyway, so whatever became was supposed to be Samhain Grim, which kind of transformed into what we know as Danzig. That era, that Final Descent era, also I hear that in the Beastmilk album as well. And so it's nice to have this kind of like newer modern version of that in a sense where it picks up from that thread or that inspiration, but it's also its own thing. I love Matt's voice on this, and I just think some of the he just feels so comfortable and sort of loose, like he wasn't too worried about
it's also like beyond that, it's so fucking rock and roll. Like dude, the swagger and the confidence of it, like he could be Ian Astbury. You know what I mean?
It's pretty culty as well. Yeah, for sure.
It's got the cult dark shit, but like he sounds like a fucking rock star on this stuff.
Yeah, it's also the element just because of its catchiness and its appeal that you wonder why the Beastmilk album wasn't fucking massive, like Darkness Massive or something like that. But oh well, it's ours, right? We know it, we love it.
Yeah.
Beastmilk fizzled as quickly as it arrived. It reconfigured itself into Grave Pleasures, and they've released a handful of albums over the years. For some weird reason, I think partly your influence. I never checked it out because you were not all that inspired by it. I mean, I remember asking you about it.
I've gotten more inspired over the years, but at the time, I think I was just so bitter about the dissolution of Beastmilk.
Yeah,
they were so important to me. I think that was just kind of emotional noise,
Yeah. In doing this episode, of course, I had to check some out to make the snippets, and I liked what I heard, and I thought, well, this kind of does seem like this could have been, this could have been Beastmilk album number 3 or 4. Like dude,
it took me this is off the top of my head. Tales from the Thousand Lakes is one of my favorite albums ever.
Yeah.
I hated Elegy for 2 years.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you did. You
I
had
forgot. I've been through a lot. That's my excuse going forward.
I want to know that, whatever. But anyway, I did, and it was just like, this is not what I want. And then eventually, I was like, "This is fucking great."
The only thing I don't want on that album is the fucking logo. And I was at Relapse when that happened, and that was supposed to be just like a placeholder logo until Amorphous could figure out what the hell they wanted as a new logo, because they didn't want to go with the death metal logo. And then it stuck because they never got us anything. And then this lowercase thing basically became their logo up to this day. It's the worst fucking logo. I hate it. And I know it's just a logo, but come on, man. Elegy otherwise is fantastic. And
It is.
But you're talking about, especially in the Beastmilk Grave Pleasures conversation.
It's exactly the same thing. It's like Tales from the Thousand Lakes meant so much to me at that time. I was 15. I was a kid, and it meant so much to me at that time. And to hear them change, I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
And that Beastmilk record meant so much to me in a time when I desperately needed something to mean something to me. And when Grave Pleasures came out, I was like, oh, all right. But now in a much stabler and decent place, I think it's quite good.
Yeah. Well, let's listen to Infatuation Overkill. This is a song from their 2017 album, Mother Blood.
This is a fucking great album title.
It's this weird world where, like, I always, wished that post Roz Williams Christian Death was really good, like the Roz Williams Christian Death, and it really wasn't. But that's how that sounds. It's like maybe that's how that could have sounded if it was good.
Yeah, no, oh God, Jeff, that's such a great point. And I haven't even thought about that, but like that whole Beastmilk thing is really like it's like death rock gone catchy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, what a great point. And thank you for bringing that up. That makes it even more appealing to me.
That's why I'm here. Let's talk about, before we get into the final band that Matt's in these days, he would adopt various aliases over the years, including, of course, Kvohst. One called Ion Man, Ionman, fucking great. Obviously a pun on Iron Man, Ion Man. Love that. Mat McMercenary. That may have been the one in Gangranator. I'm not sure. Some other one. Hati Hodvritten. This one I can't even say. This must be Finnish influence because I know he's tight with Finland these days. Hati Hodrit. I'm not going to try it. Fuck it. I'm going to skip over that one. And look up Metal Archives, people. TH Psychopython is another one. So a lot of fun there. And a fun fact, one of his favorite albums of all time, this probably won't be surprising, especially where we're at in his musical journey at this point in the episode, is Tiamat's Wild Honey. So there you go. Yeah. So
Danilo.
Oh, hi, Danilo.
I mean, I know his is the one after, but still.
Well, and
he must be, he must be proud.
Yeah, of course. Anytime we mention Tiamat, I think his ears start burning. We love that guy. We finally land on Hexvessel. Now, this is a band another one where I'd heard about them and kind of just reading about what they were about. It didn't seem like something I may be interested in, or, I chose something else at the time. This is probably around 2012 that I first started hearing about them, maybe. This is something that McNerney is in with a bunch of guys from Finland. Yeah, I just didn't listen to them. And then here he comes again, Tim Hammond. We brought him up recently in this episode. We brought him up in the Tula episode. He was big in our discovery of that band as well. But Tim had just kind of urged me to check out the Polar Veil album that came out a couple years ago. And he said it was more metal than the stuff they'd been doing before. Not that I always need metal, but I just feel like he knew I would like this album. I checked it out, and good Lord, it's as good as the cover, because I love the album cover. Yeah.
I was the same. It took me a while with Hexvessel. I tried for some years.
Oh, is there? Okay. Didn't know that.
And, I dig the vibe, but I couldn't quite get there. And Tim urged me on this one and blew me away.
Well, Polar Veil is amazing. I'm going to go back. Obviously, for this episode, I picked one from a previous album as well. We're going to pair it up with something from Polar Veil, but I'm going to keep up with them. And they do have a new album coming out, if it's not already out, called Nocturne. So, hot tip there for you people. Stick with us. We'll get you up to date on all the new metal happenings. Metal Shop. Okay. This is Hexvessel's Bog Bodies, B-O-G, Bog Bodies from Kindred, which came out in 2020. And then the beautiful A Cabin in Montana from Polar Veil from 2023. We'll be back to announce what we're going to do for episode 130. Check this shit out.
can tell you, I don't want to go to a cabin in Montana right now.
I'm certain that must be a reference to Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, because his cabin, by the time of his arrest, was in Montana, if I'm not mistaken.
With Jason Walton, who lived in
What's,
a cabin in Montana.
sorry, who did?
Jason Walton.
Oh, Jason Walton did. Okay, your voice kind of broke up on my end. Jason
Right.
Walton lived in a cabin in Montana. Well, maybe, I wonder, what was he roomies with the Unabomber?
That would not surprise me.
One wonders. One
Yeah.
wonders. Neither one of them were big fans of heavy metal. So,
Yeah, it's like, hey, do you like making bombs and do you hate Iron Maiden? We should hang out.
oh, Matt, we're sorry. That's such a beautiful song. We're sorry. Seriously though, I love, that's one of my favorite vocal performances of his. Not only that song, but that entire album.
Fucking majestic.
Yeah, yeah, and we don't mean to take anything away from the musicians in his other bands, who we haven't really mentioned a whole lot. This is obviously focused on Mr. Kvohst, Mr. McNerney, but yeah, he's just incredible on that. The other Hexvessel stuff that I've sampled and that we played from the earlier albums, it does sound quite good to me. I want more of that in my life, so I'm going to be checking that out. He certainly had come a long way since Vomitorium, right?
Yeah, but I mean, even then, it sounded like a musician or an artist with a real vision. I think his grim vocals on there had so much conviction. You know, I think it's an art that's easy to follow.
Absolutely. And it's an arc that, we've seen others take similar paths. Obviously, this one's unique to him, but yeah, really like where he's ended up. I can't wait to see where he goes. And there's even a couple bands out there that he's been in that we didn't even sample or hear from yet. But I think we hit all kind of the major points. And yeah, if he's listening, man, thank you, Matt. Just lots of illuminating stuff. We appreciate your art. So, next episode, Hunter. I can't remember if we've talked about this one recently. I don't know if you know where I'm going with it. It's going to be something that we do from time to time where this long overdue subject goes under the microscope, something that we really should have gotten to within our first 10 episodes based on what this podcast is basically all about. And this is so central to what we do here. And that's a survey of the first two albums by Canada's Oblivion, 1990's From This Day Forward and 1993's Nemesis.
Pretty much like religion for me.
Same.
Yeah.
We shall worship at the altar.
You're free to go to church. I go to Nemesis.